So the old saying that day trading is not about actually making trades, it's about having discipline and waiting for a setup, waiting for a A-class setup. That's one of the truest statements I've ever heard when it comes to day trading, and I'm pretty sure that I've said that multiple times here on the channel. Today, I want to break down a textbook setup here on the MES and show you guys exactly what I'm looking at, the entry, the exit, and everything in between. Breaking it all down right here in this video, so make sure you guys stay tuned. What's going on, guys? Welcome back. If you're just now tuning in for the first time ever, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button. If you're a longtime subscriber, you also know what to do. Hit that like button. All right, so let's break down this move. We talked about it during the live stream, but if you weren't able to tune in on the live stream at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, you missed out on all the action today, and I'm going to show you guys this setup. Like I said, it's A++. Textbook, beautiful setup. This is one of those setups that you know when you see this happening, it's time to make some money. Pulling up the 3-minute chart here on the SPY. Normally, I'm trading off of the 3-minute chart in terms of my entries and my exits, and then I'm also keeping a very close eye on the 15-minute chart, the 30-minute chart. But normally, like I said, you know, when I'm looking for my entries, I'm looking at the 3-minute chart, and then when it comes to actually like executing the trade on the MES, I'll be, show you that in a minute, but that's normally like a 1-minute chart. Blue line on the chart right here, this is the VWAP. You can see at open, we gapped down. The idea here was that we were going to fill that gap. We were going to push it back up. We're going to close that gap, that's exactly what happened. So we pushed back up off of that 388.59 level. We push up here to 391. We fill the gap. So now we know we have that resistance there at that level, that 391 resistance. Let's get rid of some of these other lines on the chart for now because we don't need them. So we're going to pull that up there. We know that resistance was popping there. You can see that little next candle, 3-minute chart, was like a doji candle. And then you see this big red candle right here. So the entry for this trade really was the low of this doji candle, the doji, that little candle right there. So the low was 390. So if you go like this, you look like, okay, that's my entry. And guess what we have right there? We have that VWAP. So basically, if we're breaking below the low of that 3-minute candle at that level there, and as we are selling through, guess what we did? We broke through the VWAP, right? We broke through the VWAP. So that's a really good overall setup. Because number one, what's our risk here? We're basically risking off of this high on this candle, I think the high was 391.79, and we're getting short here at the 390 level for that break lower. So we have a pretty good overall risk to reward. We're thinking that the low is going to be below this candle, the 388. So putting us down there to the 387. So we're looking at almost like a $3 move here on the SPY, which is a really good risk to reward. And then again, our risk here off of that basically 391. Remember, I've been really kind of adamant about talking about the VWAP, like how I've really focused on the VWAP. Number one, if we're above the VWAP, we're bullish, right? In terms of the overall trend. If we're below the VWAP, we're bearish for the overall trend. And then seeing how we interact with the VWAP will also give us signals for entering and exiting those trades. So now we know we're breaking below the VWAP here. If we go over here and we look at IronBeam, we look at the IronBeam app, we pull up the MES, guess what this lined up with perfectly? As we were breaking the downside, what did we do here on the MES? On the IronBeam app, what do? We broke below that 9 EMA. So number one, we've broken below the VWAP. Number two, we broke below that low of that candle at the 391, that last doji candle. And then now we're breaking below the EMA here on the chart. So let's say you got in a little late, you got out a little early. You're locking in minimum 20 to 30 handles with one contract on the MES. It's a $50 margin requirement. So let's say you put $50 basically to buy or short one contract. So you sell one contract at the 05s and then you covered, down here at the 80s. You're locking in 25 handles. So that's about $115, $120 move on just one contract here on the MES. If you're trading the larger size ES, that's about $1,000 move on the full size or on the mini ES. So if you're shorting on the minis, you're locking in $1,000 on this move. And again, think about it. All the things we had going, right? We broke below the low of that candle. We broke through the VWAP. We broke through the 9 EMA, and then we moved lower. Now, obviously, where is your target at for the downside move here? For me, like I said before, we had that previous area, the low of that candle on the SPY at open being this 85s. So even from the 10s to the 85s, you're still locking in some beautiful profits. We pulled all the way down here to 75, and then at that point, you're thinking, okay, we're kind of bouncing around, and I can get out, kind of put my stop, maybe put my stop at the high of these candles here. If we break to the upside and push up, and then I would obviously get stopped out there for profit. So really beautiful setup here. And it's funny because it actually kind of happened again later on in the day, this same exact setup here. If we go look at the SPY chart again, we had a big rally up on the SPY here, and then guess what we did? We ended up breaking back below the VWAP. So this could kind of go both ways, because if you look here for a long opportunity, let's say you wanted to get long, if you go here to the SPY, look at the VWAP there. The VWAP's right here at that 389.50 level. So we got this level right here. Let me pull this line over. We got this level right here. You can see we were kind of trending higher as we were grinding, getting really tight off of this level there. So grinding higher here, and then ding, 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 finally breaking to the upside. But guess what? What do we have going on there? We had the VWAP at this area. It wasn't I would say, the best overall setup and breakout here, but you can see how that VWAP acted as support, and then we got a rally up almost $3 to the upside here on the SPY. So another beautiful move with that VWAP. If we go back over here to the IronBeam app, you can see again breaking back above that 90 of May here, confirming that the bulls are in control, running up from the 900s to almost the 40s. So another 20-30 handle move to the upside there, and all about 15 minutes here. And look at that beautiful move. So again, you got the EMA breaking through there. You got the VWAP acting as support, pushing up there. And you've got, multiple levels to keep an eye on at that point. So we're pushing above this 910 and squeezed all the way up there. So really, what's your entry on this? I would say your entry basically was the break out of this overall trend and triangle. Or if you're trying to buy the dip as we're making these higher lows, and pushing up there. So again, the VWAP, the EMA, the more indicators that are pointing to a direction, like if I see that we have multiple indicators either showing that we're going to break the downside or showing resistance or showing that we're having strength to the upside, the more indicators that align with your trade, that align with your thesis, is only going to make you either more confident or also, make the trade that much better for the possibility of, making money here. Now, guess what? We had another break to the downside on the VWAP here. If we go over here to the SPY, and we go to the SPY, we broke below the VWAP right here. We were overextended off of the VWAP, ding, 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 and then we broke below. So we broke below this level here at the, 390, like 390 level. We broke below there. Again, you can see this in terms of like your entry, having this trend right here breaking. So basically entering on the close, basically with this candle breaking below the low of that candle. But if you're really waiting for that VWAP break, you got the VWAP break here a little bit later. Not as big of a move, but again, if you go over here and look at the IronBeam app, you can see how this basically bounced off of this level, pushed back up. We were right there at the VWAP. We were above the EMA for a second. We cracked back below the EMA, and then we sold. And look at that, from the 15s down to the 90s. So another, almost 20 handle move there on this one. So each of these setups, each of these moves is about $50 to $100 in profit if you're trading literally just one contract. So you can see how that VWAP, how the EMA, how these indicators all lining up together can really give you some big, beautiful profits here. Now the market's kind of chopping around, which you can see again on the SPY, how it's kind of just chopping around here at the VWAP, not really giving us like any clear indicators. I mean, maybe here you could have entered a short as that candle got denied there at the VWAP. But I really kind of think at the end of the day, the focus here for these setups really is getting those breaks to the upside or to the downside based on the VWAP and then based on the EMAs there, and just keeping, you know, a bigger picture idea. I like to look at the 15-minute chart as well, kind of seeing like, okay, 15-minute chart, you can see, I mean, 15-minute chart was pretty choppy most of the morning, you know, from 10:30 to about 11:15, we were just chopping around there. Look at those candles. I mean, it's literally just chop, 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 boom, big 15-minute candle breaking to the upside here, and then another 15-minute candle breaking to the downside, and now again, kind of just chopping around, grinding at this level here at the 389. So, you know, this could set up for the end of day rally from the 390, try to push back up to the 394s, 393s, this previous resistance here. You know, that's something definitely holding up here at the 389, 388 level. But, you know, we'll see what happens here later in the day. Right now at that VWAP area. So again, you know, that VWAP really for me has been so important. I've been very closely keeping an eye on it. Like I said, you know, it's making it much easier if we're trending, if the market's trending like it was yesterday, like when the market's just trending lower and we're below the VWAP all day long, it's like, hey, you know, why would I get long? Why would I get long? Or, you know, if we're trending higher and we're above the VWAP, you know, why would I get short? Again, you know, asking the question, why, or, you know, why? So right now, looking like the market wants to try to push back up here end of day. Market's down about 0.38% on the day. And you can see after that big rally up, the sell-off, but again, just kind of bouncing, getting tight at this level. So there's, I would say, much more of a possibility of this trying to squeeze up here and push to the highs again, and then to sell off after, you know, multiple times kind of touching down to this support here. Very interesting action we got there. So again, what are we looking at? We're looking for multiple indicators to line up with our overall thesis. We got the VWAP, we got the EMAs. What are the candlesticks telling us? What are we seeing in terms of the upper wicks, the lower wicks? Are we getting doji candles? Are we chopping around? What is going on? Those are all just questions that you should be asking yourself. But at the end of the day, when you start to see those indicators all lining up and pointing in the direction that you want it to go, when you want the market to move in a certain direction, you're placing a trade, you know, and all those indicators are lining up perfectly, well, then that's when it's time to make some money. So if you guys haven't already, do me one big favor, hit that like button, subscribe button, all the buttons down below. I will talk to you guys later on.
Yeah.